In May of 2011, the last 2 minutes here. May of 2011, me and my friend just came out of a season in Kansas City. We had a 10-month awakening. We had Pastor Bill come. It was glorious. We had 7,000 testimonies over 10 months. Everything. We had full folders of everything. And me and my good friend Alan had gone to Fredericksburg, Virginia, as it was coming to an end. The Lord was telling us, you've seen ankle deep, go back to the prayer, go back to your knees. I want to take it to knee deep. You got to go back to your knees if you want knee deep. I think that Ezekiel 47 river is for us. We get in that night and Alan's looking at me saying, hey, Corey, I'm not doing well. I feel warfare. I feel stuff in my mind, stuff in my body. I need you to pray with me. Well, I prayed over him that night. We prayed in the Spirit for about an hour. I said, Lord, bless him. And he said, God, give me a dream. And he went to bed that night and he had a dream. He had written an article in Ministry Today about the call to prayer. And he sees the article and then he sees comment boxes like on a computer screen. And he sees witches and warlocks cursing leaders in their marriages and just the warfare over people standing on the front line. Well, Alan clicks on one of the boxes, goes into a room, and he encounters a man, and I don't even understand this stuff fully or all this. He sees a man wrapped in a python, sees pornography on a back wall, and the guy is just cursing Alan. And Alan hears a voice behind him, and it's Alan, it's witchcraft. It's witchcraft. Well, the next scene, he's taken out of that scene, and the next scene is he sees thousands upon thousands of young people. Tent revival. And he sees me and a man by the name that you know, Bob Jones. Me and Bob Jones embrace one another. And I'm really happy to get in this dream. And we declare a phrase out of Psalm 126. The Lord has done great things for us. The Lord has done great things for us. Well, Alan gets excited. He goes, all right, I'm under warfare, but this thing's breaking. This is about a spirit of revival hitting the next generation. We're in, let's go. He comes down. Corey, get up. He's screaming through the door. Wake up. Meet me downstairs for breakfast now. All right. I run down for breakfast. He starts telling me the dream. He starts telling me the dream. And he gets to the part of me and Bob Jones embracing one another. And about that time, a lady comes, taps him on the shoulder and says, hey, are you Alan Hood? He goes, yes, ma'am. She goes, hi, my name's Bonnie Jones. And me and my husband, Bob, would like to have breakfast with you two. We had never met Bob before. We come from Kansas City. All I heard from Mike for 30 years were Bob Jones stories. He was absolutely integral to what God did in God's done in Kansas City in the 80s and 90s. So I'm like, oh my goodness. I'm like, I got to go to the bathroom and have a quick quiet time. Make sure I'm right with Jesus. I don't need him up in my business. And so we sit down. I asked him, hey, where are you from in Arkansas? That's the only thing I knew. We're 30 minutes from each other, so we the Arkansas talk. And then he goes into just talking. And about the first hour and a half, we didn't understand a word he said. He's talking and he talks in the vision realm, and he talks to you like you know it and are seeing it. But I want to teach you, when you're around these kind of people, just nod real deep, going, ooh, that's good. That's good. I never thought about that. I don't know what he's talking about. He gets to the end. He gets to the end. And I forgot to say this, that the article that Alan had written was about the book of Joel and how a call to prayer and fasting, an outpouring of the Spirit. We're at a critical moment for prayer unto outpouring. Prayer unto outpouring. That was the article he had written. And then Bob just stops and he goes, ooh, you boys have been preaching on Joel. And that's what we do. And he goes, I see witchcrafts come against you. He looked at me, he goes, I see python marks in your neck. He goes, yeah. He goes, there's great witchcraft and warfare against those who will stand for fullness. For those that will push in for fullness, we don't have any clue. The devil is happy with most believers because they'll just live at a distance. But for the ones that will push in for fullness, it raises the stakes, and witchcraft comes against them. And witchcraft gets in the eyes and it messes them up. Well, Alan had heard stories about how Bob would pray over leaders under warfare, and he'd pray over them, it'd just break. Alan interrupts him talking and says, Bob, would you pray for us? We all get like this, ready? He goes, I ain't gonna do that religious thing. He goes, what do you think I've been doing for the last 2 hours? Talking? I don't know. Felt like talking about stuff I don't have a clue. And then he said this, and I'll never forget it. And he goes, you boys have been weeping, haven't you? We go, yeah, we just weeping last night together. He said, you see, witchcraft gets in your eyes. And it makes you look on past seasons as if you've never done anything for God. And then it makes you look on future seasons as if you'll never do anything for God. He said, but weeping gets the witchcraft out of your eyes. He said, you boys are going to be fine. Your ministries are good. Oh, you don't have any idea. You don't have any idea how much I held on to those phrases reverberate. You're going to be fine. Your ministries are going to stay intact. You're good. And I would walk through a really intense season. I would lose a son, and God would bring forth a glorious storyline out of it. And all of it the whole way. Every day I would pull on those words. Weeping gets the witchcraft out of the eyes. Because he says, I want to keep you above the storm of accusation. And I want you to stay connected because I'm going to bring forth a glorious storyline.